Greetings, this is the Timeshare Traveler. Today is episode 46, Why I Chose Timeshares over Airbnb. From an overview perspective, Airbnb is a great way to vacation. I've used them myself, so it's not Airbnb is bad and timeshare is good. It's just timeshares were better for me, and I will walk you through why that is. And if it fits your situation, that's great. So the first thing is there's a vast array of options with Airbnb. Single rental application, you can book anywhere. The quality and brand is a little bit inconsistent. I found such a wide variety. You have to sort of really research the place to make sure it is really what you want. And there's no upfront fees, so that's great. You just have to pay for the rental when you're going to rent, and there's no long-term commitment. I think a lot of people really like that, if you do, that's great for you. So timeshares are also a good way for vacation. Upfront costs make an option, a commitment to vacations. That's actually one of the reasons why I did do it, because I felt I'd be too cheap to take good vacations. So I sort of forced myself by making a payment to commit to actually having good vacations for myself. So that was actually a plus for me. And some people see that as a negative because they're not sure if they're going to be able to use it and various other risks and concerns. The other reason I like it is pretty much consistent set of features when you go to the different resorts from the different brands. So it's kind of a comfort. You don't really have to kind of know what to expect. The other thing is I leverage all the hotel chains and everything like that. So I really have a lot of places, not just the timeshares, but all the hotels usually associated with that. I also have exchange options. There's RCI or Interval International, and they allow you to branch out beyond just the locations within your timeshare portfolio. Timeshare companies offer cruises. I've not yet seen it on Airbnb, but it may be there. I just haven't seen it. Timeshare companies are now offering villas for rent. So now, I've noticed I've noticed Marriott you can rent a home on the coast of California, just like you would book a hotel room. And also Hilton has villas of distinction, which are houses in Europe that you can rent. So there's some beginning to be overlap, and I think over time the timeshares will merge and have some competitive natures on Airbnb, which is a testament to Airbnb being a good solution. So I don't think choosing Airbnb is a bad thing. It's just timeshares were better for me. And ultimately, after I put the money into the upfront costs, overall I'm finding that the costs on the vacations, maintenance fees versus booking an Airbnb, that timeshares are actually cheaper on an ongoing basis. Before I go into the next steps about specifics about the timeshare, I'm going to break with a little bit about my timeshare, and then I'll jump back into the details. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm your Timeshare Traveler. The goal of my YouTube channel is improving your timeshare travels. I'll do this through timeshare video reviews, tips for using timeshares, and much, much more. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, Twitter at Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. And if you like my videos, don't forget to click subscribe below. Okay, let me jump right into the key timeshare benefits. So I really like the standard features that are, common kitchens. I know what to expect. They almost always have grills. I should say they always have grills. The pools are super huge and great, and sometimes with Airbnbs you don't get that. I love jacuzzis. It's sort of my evening thing to do after cooking on the grills. So that's one of the things that I really like that, and so that made a big difference in me choosing timeshares. Lower costs, and I'll go into that in greater detail. Again, I'm excluding the purchase costs. I'm just saying, once you've purchased the actual operating costs on an annual basis there. And again, I like the relationship with the hotels and consistent quality. So it's just a comfort level for me, and that was something that mattered to me. It may not matter to you, but that was what mattered to me. And I mentioned the timeshare companies are now offering Airbnb options, access to the hotel networks with benefits. So in the case of Hilton, I get free breakfasts at all the Hiltons and access to the lounge because I'm a timeshare member. And so that's a big difference because I do travel and stay in hotels as well. Exchange networks. I've booked lots of. There's a video I have for booking a week's holiday for under $400, and I just find last minute specials in Interval International or in RCI, and I'm able to get a week for under $400 in some really nice places, including right on the ocean. Also, every one of the timeshare things there, because they run more like a hotel, they actually have last minute specials. And I know Airbnb has some flexibility to adjust prices, but I'm finding that there's actually a section that you look at and so you can browse and sort of learn over time what the areas are that are pretty much always to have last minute specials. Usually Orlando and Las Vegas have last minute specials. And the other thing is I know a lot of people feel these pressure, you got to use your timeshare points. You can also rent them out, and I've done that. I've rented them out and I've doubled my maintenance costs. So one of the things I'm considering is renting out a portion of my timeshares so that I basically vacation for free. So that's one of the options I have going forward. And let me jump into the next section here. Well, the next section here is the key weaknesses of timeshares. I hope you didn't think that I thought there was a panacea. Upfront costs, purchase from a timeshare company. So what I did is I track how much I save versus renting it on a place like TripAdvisor or hotels.com. I compare what it would cost me to rent it versus what I actually pay in equivalent maintenance fees. And I found that roughly 6 to 7 years, you pretty much saved the money that you paid up front. So if you're making an investment for a long term, like I did, you get the payback from a cost basis. If you buy used, on the other hand, it's really sometimes 1 year, but most likely 2 years, your vacation savings have paid off the purchase. And so I've actually bought used, and so that's really been a great thing for me. Probably the biggest thing that I hear from people that's concerning is just you always have the maintenance. It's like a never-ending fee, and it's true. I have always looked at it as I have an ongoing obligation to take a vacation. So I know that's sort of making lemonade out of lemons, but it's kind of the way that was my whole purpose, is to force myself to take time to relax and take time to do something for myself, work hard, and we do a lot of things. So I thought that was really important. The other real drawback is there's a lot less locations. I don't think there's anything that's unusual about that. I will offset that because of the hotels and exchanges. It's not as far reaching as it once was, and also there's consolidation within the timeshare industry. Marriott bought Vistana, and Hilton bought Diamond International, so there's a consolidation. So the timeshare, there's more and more locations now. For my last section, I'm going to go through an example of a comparable listing. And this is just one example just to prove my point about that they're less expensive. And I've even picked the Airbnb. They're one of the least expensive ones, but it was also comparable locations. So what I did is I picked Waikoloa, Hawaii, and I happened to have a booking in October, so it was far enough out that it wasn't one of those where you were getting caught with the last minute purchase of an Airbnb and it would be more expensive, because sometimes that happens. So the example that I'll show you right after this is I did a reservation with Hilton, and it's 5440 points, or it's about $786 for the week for staying in a one bedroom. I found a similar actually in Waikoloa, and a little bit farther away from the ocean, but really pretty close. So I thought it was fair. And it was a one bedroom also in Waikoloa area, and the total cost in Airbnb there was about $277. Both of these did not include the Hawaii tax, so I think it was an apples to apples comparison. So it's about 1/3 the price to stay in the Hilton Waikoloa property that's actually right on the ocean, and the Waikoloa one that's probably a quarter to a half mile away. Anyway, that's it for my presentation. I hope you have a better idea why I chose the timeshares over an Airbnb. And again, please, there's nothing wrong with Airbnb. I've used it and I enjoy it. So enjoy these sample examples I have of the bookings, and happy traveling. And I hope you enjoyed this, and please subscribe. Here's an example of a timeshare booking that uses set for 7 nights for 5,440 points, which is about $780, so a little bit over $100 a night. Here's an example of an Airbnb rental that I saw that in the same location, same dates as the timeshare, and it turns out to be $2,077. So that shows that the timeshares are cheaper.